Yo, what's up viewers, it's your boy Blaze Hollow coming at you again with another what if, and this time I'll be bringing you what if Deku was the Monkey King part 3. I hope you all are excited for this one like I am, so let's start that intro and get into it.
I don't think you can become a hero.
Eraserhead, Midnight, Vlad King, Powerloader, and 13 started to sit there on the couch with their jaws hung open as Nezu literally offered a teenager the right to a pro hero just because he's so powerful, only to get in return for a few questions answered. Eraserhead spoke up as he was trying to calm himself about the situation. With all due respect, Nezu, don't you think that's a little bit extreme giving a boy his age the authority of an adult? Vlad King shook his head a little bit as he composed himself. I have to agree with Eraserhead, we don't know what this boy's intentions are yet. All we know that is he is a master powerhouse. Nezu sat there in his chair for a second as he then looked over at his staff, and that is why we need to try to have a dialogue with him. My question will help put everything aside along with understanding of what happens if we don't comply with him. And if he goes against us, is there literally anybody in the world that can really go toe to toe with him because he's only 15, he's not even in his prime, so put that in your mind. Zuko chuckled in amusement seeing that the principal realized the situation as he leaned back on the couch with a smug look on his face. I see that the principal has more foresight than the rest of you. As much as I would love to watch grown men and women squirm like ants, can we please get to these questions already? Nezu kindly looked towards Izuku. Of course, but if you don't mind, can I add one more condition to these terms? Izuku narrowed his eyes a little bit as he looked towards Nezu. It depends on what it is. Nezu gulped as he was a little bit nervous about what he was about to ask. Well, I feel like it's only fair that each person here in front of you gets to ask you at least 3 questions, that way we can put everybody's mind at ease. And in return, I will make sure to give a direct phone call to the committee so that they can look into your special case and do everything that I can to hand you your license as soon as possible. Zuko thought about the request and thought about how interesting it would be to get everybody's thoughts and see what they're worried about. I agreed to these terms, so why don't we start off with the women in the room and leave the men for last. Nezu sighed in relief as he looked over at his teaching staff. Alrighty then either Midnight or 13, which one of you would like to start this off? Both of the women looked at each other wondering which one should go first as Midnight motioned for 13 to speak as she was starting to shake a little bit scared. You asked, knowing that there needed to be some questions and try to get as much answer out of the boy as possible. What kind of hero do you want to try to be? Izuku rose an eyebrow wondering why 13 chose such a casual question for such a severe situation. To be honest, I want to be a combat hero, the one that people call to deal with all the good fights and not the ones with the little sissies. 13 was actually concerned by that answer on how casual it was and how simple-minded the boy's view on heroism is. Why do you have such an obsession with fighting? It seems to be unhealthy for someone your age. Izuku actually had to think about that question and why he actually liked to fight so much, and then it came down to a very simple answer. It makes me feel alive. Nezu spoke up, curious about that response. Mind giving a little bit more detail on that answer? Izuku nodded as he was thinking a little bit on how to put it into words. Well, it's because life is boring. I feel like we're always doing the same thing day after day. Once I get into one of those blood-pumping battles, I feel like the shackles are released and I get to truly have freedom and do what I want to do. But it's truly sad because no one can truly challenge me, and I'm starting to feel like fighting during this time of my life will just continue to be boring until I find a worthy challenger. 13 was kinda sad for Izuku's pessimistic look on life, but also concerned with the very heavy obsession with needing to fight someone. And what will happen if one day you can no longer fight? Izuku looked at the woman like she grew a second head. It's simple. If I can no longer fight, it means that I found a challenger who can defeat me, and as soon as I taste defeat, I want them to kill me because it means that they deserve to be on top. 13 jumped out of her seat like she wanted to yell at the boy. With her career as a rescue hero, hearing somebody saying that they're willing to die just because they tasted defeat beat sounded like madness to her ears. Are you truly telling me that you would be okay with that person killing you if they're able to defeat you? Are you completely out of your mind? Izuku looked at 13 like she needed to calm down before he smacked her. Sit back down, you're out of question and you need to sit down and shut up before I make you. 13 was enraged by not only how he was speaking to her, but also how he was acting like he had all the power here. Listen here, little boy, just because you have all this power doesn't mean you get to act like you're in charge here. Izuku sighed as he reached into his ear, grabbing onto his staff as he just laid out his palm in front of everybody. Extend, Yaido. Before anybody could do anything, a stone staff shot off into 13's helmet, forcing her back into her chair. Be glad that I didn't decide to take off your head for your insubordination and disrespect. All the heroes in the room looked at 13, seeing that the stone staff was retracting and shrinking back down, showing that only the helmet was pierced, but not the actual head of the person. 13 looked like she saw death itself, and was shaking while Vladkin was getting ready to jump over the coffee table and restrain the boy, but was then held back by Eraserhead, who looked like he was about to grab something out of his back pocket, but then looked around at the room, seeing that everybody else was trying to keep their cool. Nezu motioned for everybody to take their seats and calm down as he was sweating, worried that this might get out of hand. Please, everybody, calm down. No need for violence. Izuku was right. 13 was out of question, and it was Midnight's turn, so let's just take it easy. Midnight was licking her lips seductively, while on the inside was panicking a little bit, wanting to be careful with what she had to say. Is there anything else that entertains you besides fighting? Izuku put one of his fingers to his chin as he was thinking about a few things came to mind as he saw himself drooling for a second. Then he had a blush on his face as he then shook his head still so he can compose himself. Well, I enjoy a good meal, usually something with a lot of unexpected flavors, but I also enjoy the fine things in life like women, but I mostly will enjoy fighting above all else, but the other things will just be as entertaining. Midnight got a seductive look on her face as she started to feel like she was more in her comfort zone talking to this boy. What kind of women are you actually into? Izuku leaned back on the couch as he was thinking about all the different types of women there could be out there in the world. Well, they gotta have a strong will and have a sexy body and a lot of energy. I guess it wouldn't hurt if they're kinky, that way we could always spice things up. And I would have to say they would either have to be around my age or whatever age you are, Midnight. Midnight wanted to see if Izuku was a player or if he had loyalty. If you have a girlfriend, are you loyal or do you only see yourself as a master to the ladies that you keep at your side? Izuku chuckled a little bit at the idea of loyalty. You see, many women would pray to their deity just to have the honor to line my bed, but if I found a girl that caught my attention and was able to fit all my parameters, I would make sure that she is safe at all time. And if anything were to happen to her, I would destroy or kill whoever brought her harm or sorrow. Midnight smiled as she liked everything that Izuku had to say, also liking that he found her very kinky and actually had something that could help keep the boy calm as she remembered the black-haired girl from Group C who he wanted to go visit. I appreciate you answering all of my questions. Izuku smiled, liking talking to Midnight as she had a very flirty attitude. I have to say I enjoy talking to you too. Maybe if you play your cards right, you'll be one of the many women who lined my sheet. Midnight shivered a little bit, wondering what the boy was packing. You definitely have my curiosity piqued, but I do not think it's appropriate for the both of us to have this talk in front of everyone. It might make them feel inadequate, so why don't you take over, boys? Power Loader took this as an opportunity to go next. I'm very curious, who made your support items? Izuku scratched the back of his head, wondering how he's going to explain this. Well, technically my Thundercloud's been with me since birth, and my staff just one day came out of my ear. The only thing that I didn't have until recently was my special armor, but I don't know who gave it to me. Power Loader found it fascinating to have such a powerful tool be a part of Izuku and was pondering what his next question should be. What's your opinion on the robots and support items that you've seen so far from here and there? Izuku thought about it, knowing that he was talking about the robots from the entrance exam, but when it came to support items, he saw a few heroes using them that he had different thoughts about. I would have to say that the robots here, in my opinion, are just glorified tin cans. As for hero support items, I feel like they're nothing compared to my tools, easily broken, easily able to get around. Power Loader found it interesting how easily this boy looked down on support gear. Would you be willing to volunteer and help test some of the new prototype support courses working on, since you're technically invincible? Izuku was thinking about it for a second as he saw this as an opportunity to have some benefits for himself. What will I get for helping out and testing these these dangerous prototypes. Our loader had to think and try to tread lightly, not wanting to make a bad offer. Well, what I can offer you is whatever you need for support items or hero costume repair. You will be pushed to the top of the list for our service. Along with whatever designs you have for an idea, we'd be more than happy to help you out with it. Izuku put his hand to his chin, thinking, knowing that he probably will never need any support items or costume fix, but he then realized that Momo might not have the same luxury as he does. Deal, but just so you know, the moment I come in with a request, you better push everything to the wayside. Break this rule and our contract is null and void. Our loader nodded as he was actually very grateful for the boy to help out with no longer having to put people's lives at risk for testing out these unstable prototypes. I do thank you for your time in the future, but I think it's time for me to pass it on to one of my other colleagues. Lad King coughed a little bit to get everybody's attention on him. I truly want to know what heroism means to you, boy. Only the adults in the room were actually a little bit worried about this question, wondering if it was going to cause a major scene or they were going to hear what they wanted to hear, as they all turned to Izuku wanting to hear his answer. Izuku chuckled a little bit thinking about that question. Before I answer that question, allow me to ask you one of my own. If you kill a man in wartime, you're branded a hero, but if you kill a man in peace, you're branded a murderer. What is truly the difference in this situation? Lad King was blown back by the question as he had to think about it very hard. Well, it's quite simple. If you kill a man in wartime, it means that you're just protecting your nation or the people you care about. But if you kill a man during peace, then that means you're just doing it for the sake to do it, which is wrong. Izuku leaned back his head while laughing at the most simple and foolish answer. To be honest, there's actually no answer to that question, because what if during peace someone makes a person murder? And if you think about it, in war, the other side is trying to defend their home, nation, and people that they care about, so truly there is no right answer to this. You see, murder is just a word and it is just an action. Lad King was surprised, but then pushed those thoughts aside when he just wanted to get back to his own question. You are still dodging my question, so I would appreciate it if you would just answer it already. Izuku calmed himself as he looked over at Lad King right in the eye with a serious glare. My version of heroism is doing what I think is right and not caring about what other people think. As long as the people I care about are safe and their way of life is not trampled with, I will continue to fight until I have nothing left to give. Lad King thought about that answer and was okay with some of it. Would you ever kill anybody if it meant saving the day, even if you had other options handed to you? Izuku put his hand to his chin and processed that question. Yes, I would easily kill if I had other options, because I felt like it would be much simpler just to get rid of the villain, just so I don't have to deal with it ever again, and I'm fine with one less scumbag on the street. Lad King was horrified hearing how easily Izuku could just kill somebody. Do you truly care for humanity, or are you just doing this to please yourself? Izuku folded his arms over his chest as he leaned back on the couch that he was on as he glared at Vlad King. Humanity is something hard for me to understand. I think it is for everybody else, but if I were to answer your question, I would say I'm neutral. I could care less some days, and other days I could care a lot. It just depends on how I feel. Vlad King stood up like he was getting ready to attack Izuku. I think that you should leave this school. You're not here to be a hero. You're just here for your own self-entertainment. Izuku yawned as he stood up, getting ready to grab his staff out of his ear. Before anything happens, do you mind telling me what your favorite flowers are? Vlad King was confused as he got into a defensive stance. Why the hell do you want to know that? Izuku finally got his staff out of his ear as he was getting ready to grow it. That way, when you wake up in the hospital, at least you'll have something from this encounter besides broken bones. Racer had quickly got onto his feet as he stood in between the both of them, knowing that Vlad King is going to get himself killed if this continues. Enough, it's my turn. I would appreciate if we could all just sit down and continue talking like adults. Izuku looked at the situation, still very much annoyed, ready to break both of these men right in front of him. As his staff grew to the size of him, getting ready to swing, Midnight quickly ran over to Izuku and held him from behind as she pressed her body up against his. Can you please calm down? We can share the couch on the opposite side of the coffee table, away from all of the men. Izuku smiled as he felt her luscious body up against his as he turned to face her. Well, I guess if you're the one asking, I guess I can take a seat. Midnight smiled as she was licking her lips, motioning for the boy to sit down on the couch as she sat down next to him, giving him a massage on his shoulder while she was pressing her body up against his. I truly do appreciate it, and I'll make sure that all of my colleagues here don't do anything else to upset you. Lad King's eyebrows were twitching as he was sickened by Midnight's action, and then looked looked at Eraserhead, who was still in between him and Izuku. "Why did you stop me, Eraserhead? I can handle myself." Eraserhead took a seat back on the couch opposite of the coffee table away from Izuku. "So you don't end up getting yourself killed. You have to realize he's still a child. He has time to change his mind and opinion on things. But if you rush in and cause a fight that you can't win, you'll just make the whole situation worse for everybody." Izuku was liking where this conversation was going, turning out that he was getting to see which ones were his allies and which one had to get out of the way. "I believe it is your turn, Eraserhead. It seems that you are the wittiest out of all of them, but then again, I haven't heard from the principal just yet." Eraserhead thought about it for a second and realized that a lot of his questions have already been answered, so he decided to start off with something simple. "Can you please tell me why you think that you're a god?" "I believe I'm a god because of my overwhelming strength and ability. I can change the weather with my thundercloud. I can grow my staff to the size of skyscrapers and even go as far to hit the moon. I can make an army of myself to fight, and my armor practically makes me invincible. When it comes to these terms, God, I believe that I'm a war god. Because of these facts, I have the personality and opinion that I do." Eraserhead was finding it hard to disagree with that logic when he wanted to figure out a way to get him to work with the UA staff. "Are you willing to train people? Because being a war god like yourself, you have to want to fight strong opponents." Izuku thought about it and came to the conclusion that the only way people could get stronger is if he trains them himself. "I would be willing to help, but I don't feel like a lot of people would survive my training." Eraserhead nodded and was wondering what would happen if he went for an emotional question. "Do you have anybody that you care about, like a mother, a friend, or possibly a girlfriend?" Izuku put his hand to his chin, thinking really hard about the term caring about somebody. "Well, I do appreciate my mother for giving me life and taking care of me. As for friends, I don't have many of those. Momo is a good friend, full of entertainment, and I do not have a girlfriend. Because of such a god as myself should not be tied down to one woman. He should be able to have whatever woman he is able to get his hands upon." Eraserhead was now concerned for all the women in the building, but decided to brush it off for now. "Well, I appreciate this. I might ask for your help with teaching my class in the future, but I will leave it for when we get to it, so I believe that it is Nezu's turn so we can finish it off." Nezu knew that he only had one question on his mind. "I want to know, if I were to ask you to fight with us against villain, would you help us, or would you rather consider which one of us could give you better benefits?" Izuku was thinking about it, knowing that he most likely would benefit from either situation, but he also liked a good challenge. "To be honest, it just depends on where I get a better fight, and I don't think that I'll get a good fight out of any of you, because I can look you all up on the internet and get all of your information, not that I need it. Villains, on the other hand, are usually uncatalogued, and you have to think on your feet, and that's fun for me." Nezu was expecting an answer like that, but luckily it was to their benefit. "So, do you like to be paid in cash, or do you like objects?" Izuku was looking up at the ceiling like he was thinking about it like it was the hardest question he ever heard. "Cash is good, but I like new toys, so either or, whatever one you think I would like more at the moment." Nezu was writing this down on a piece of paper when something finally came to his mind that worried him. "Now, on the off chance I'm not able to convince the Hero Committee to give you your license, what would you do?" Izuku raised his killer intent and made everybody in the room suffocate, wondering if they were about to die. "If that were to happen, it would be like you lied to me about giving me a gift, and I do not like being lied to. It usually pisses me off a lot, and I would have to get my anger out on the person who wronged me." Nezu gulped like he was put from the frying pan and into the fire. "Noted. Well, that should be enough for now. You're free to go. Thank you for answering all of our questions." Izuku smiled as he stood up, going towards the window instead of the door as he put his palm on it and just struck it, causing the entire panel to come out. "Oh, thank you. This was actually a very entertaining moment. Sorry if I broke your window, but I don't like to leave the same way I came in sometimes, so I'm just gonna go out this way." They all watched Izuku leap off the edge, going out the window as he rode off on his cloud, seeming to be heading towards the front gate. While they were all still in shot, the door to the office swung open, revealing All Might, who was sweating heavily, as Momo seemed to be looking around the room expecting to find corpses. "Someone tell me, please, where is Izuku?" Nezu calmed himself as he looked at the both of them. "If you're looking for Izuku, he just left out the window behind me, but why do the both of you look so concerned?" Momo looked around the room and saw that there was no sign of a fight as she then checked over each and every one of the heroes, including the principal, to see that they had no wounds. "Wait, he didn't fight any of you? How were you able to keep him calm when you didn't have something to give him?" Nezu smiled, seeing that the girl was concerned for everybody here. "You must be Momo Yaoyorozu, to put your mind at ease, I was able to come up with something. I offered to give him his hero license by talking to the committee for him. All Might's jaw opened wide as he had a panic look on his face. No offense, Nezu, but are you crazy? That boy has no self-control. Even though I helped train him in a way, I do not think that it is wise to let him have as much authority as a hero. Racerhead glared at All Might like he was mad with him. It's your own fault by lying to the boy, saying that we had a gift for him when we obviously didn't, so you put us into that situation. Black King stood up as he quickly got in front of Momo. Since you seem to know the boy the best, tell us the truth. Is he really a god, or is he just an arrogant punk with a lot of power? Momo hung her head down low, worried about what everybody's reaction is going to be to all of this. Yes, he is the reincarnation of a god known as Sun Wukong, the original Monkey King. But that's when I'm going to end it off this time, guys. But please do not click off that video yet. There's a few things I want to say to everybody real quick. First off, I want to give a shout out to my boy Dubstep, saying thank you for all the thumbnails that he's been working on for me. He does a lot of amazing work, so you guys should make sure to go down in the comment section and say thank you for all that. Second, I want to say thank you to my editor Ed for all the hard work that he puts into all my videos. I do not say it to him a lot, but he should know that he's very much appreciated. And finally, I want to say thank you to my fan base for watching all my videos since I was a rookie. Oh, and one last thing, let me actually say that you should all be saying thank you to Ed, because the next video that I do is going to be Hormone Deku, which is going to be an hour-long special, so make sure to say down in the comment section, thank you, Ed-sama. But with all that said, I'm out this time, guys. Peace.